Welcome back. We're glad you're still watching WS TV. Despite efforts to fight HIV and earlier reported successes, the country remains with a challenge of high prevalence in parts of the country. It is against this background that the Interreligious Council of Uganda, through support of USAID, is moving on a widespread campaign to bring the prevalence down.
Seeing these women singing, one might think they are a drama group, but they are HIV positive group that have learned to live freely positive, and wherever they meet at the outreach center, they engage themselves in singing as a way of fighting stigma. Justine Nachanzi, a resident of Banga, Katosi, in her late 50s, says her husband, father, mother, and two sisters and a brother have all tested HIV positive. She has also tested positive but wants to progress despite this. Nachansi is not alone. Teddy Adjambo, a nursery teacher, had also lost hope on realizing that she was positive. It worsened when she was terminated from the government primary school following a retrenchment. She later gained hope when she became a beneficiary of a heifer from the Interreligious Council, where she can sell milk and earn a living. But one wonders why HIV prevalence is too high in landing sites. According to medical doctors in the area, they attribute it to ignorance amongst the community. Here you find 5 families in one shelter, and adultery has been spotted on the rise.
Positives will be higher at the landing sites compared to those which are carried out, not at the landing sites.
Living on islands, from as far as Kenya. It so happens that services usually are not, especially preventive services, HIV/AIDS preventive services are not really so good in the islands. Probably because of this that the number usually increases.
The IRCU HIV AIDS and Public Health Program assumes that religious institutions can preach HIV information in their sermons, both in churches, mosques and other religious events. Report compiled by Unison Tally for WBS TV in Katosi.
Now joining me in the studios to shed more light on the topic and other HIV interventions by the Interreligious Council is their program manager in charge of HIV AIDS and Public Health, Jackie Katanabe. Good evening and welcome to WBS TV.
Thank you.
Now Jackie, the country is again alarmed by the stagnating HIV prevalence rates, with some reports indicating a rise. What's your overall view or comment on this?
Yeah, thank you very much once again, Diana. True, the prevalence rate is stagnating between 6.4% and 6.7% according to 2005, 2006 to 2010 and 2012 HIV/AIDS sero survey. And other reports have also indicated a rise. However, they've just conducted another HIV sero survey behavior for 5 years. The findings are preliminary and we are yet to get the details whether we are still stagnating or there's a decrease or an increase in the prevalence rate. But the message I have, according to the work done by the religious leaders and other stakeholders in the country, I think we need to rethink the approaches for HIV/AIDS prevention. The messages that go out, they need to be focusing on behavior change other than giving out on information, what we call information education and communication. But also we need to have the right targeting, the youth and the marrieds, because apparently we know that for 43% of the marrieds are HIV positive. So the prevalence rate is high among the marrieds, and that's why the religious leaders continue to preach and educate people to change their behavior, especially the marrieds, by talking about faithfulness.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now, as the IRC, you're dealing with this issue directly. What is special with the fishing communities?
Yeah, the fishing communities, they're mobile and very difficult to target.
Okay.
And also there is a survey which was done and the research which was done, it shows that most of them don't move with their families, which makes them more vulnerable. And secondly, actually they quoted saying, if I can die anytime on water, what is HIV AIDS? So, which calls for unique interventions that target them. You need to be able to know what time you can get them, and that's why the interventions we use through the faith-based organizations like Chetumi and others, we have to reach them out. You can't wait for them to come to the hospitals and healthy centers, but we reach them through outreaches.
Okay.
Yeah.
How are you able to use the faith-based approach to fight HIV?
The faith-based approach is about belief in God,
Okay.
Using scriptures, working with religious leaders, working through the structures. And when I talk about the structures, I'm talking about the churches, the mosques, the events like Mothers Union, for example, if you're talking about faithfulness, Scripture Union, and other youth groups that are within the Christians and the Muslims or Islam. So we use the structures and work with the religious leaders. But also we don't forget to use the scientific knowledge. That's why that you find biomedical or scientific interventions in our programs.
Now, have you registered any success, if any, that you have scored in helping these rural communities so far?
Yes. Apparently, we are working with 101 faith-based organizations, and these faith-based organizations are working in 43 districts in Uganda. 40 of them, they are churches and mosques, and they are implementing prevention programs. 19 are healthy units, that's community-based organizations, hospitals, and healthy units. They are implementing care and treatment programs. And then 37 of them are giving support to orphan and vulnerable children. And we are also supporting the 5 structures, we call them institutional religious bodies, to do advocacy and do HIV mainstreaming by building the capacity of religious leaders to be able to mainstream HIV/AIDS in their interventions. And with that, we've been able every 3 months to reach 30,000 people with care and treatment. 12,000 people are on ARVs. 15 orphan and vulnerable children are getting support. And also we are able to test over 30,000 people every 3 months. But also we do safe medical circumcision. Every month we have over 1,700 adult males circumcised, among so many achievements that have had a change in their lives.
Well, that's commendable success. And Jackie, before we wind up this discussion, the challenge of ARVs has been pronounced recently, this in regard to them not being enough and the counterfeit in some instances. Are these allegations real? What would be the IRC's comment? What has been your experience giving out medication, ARVs, to some of the communities you reach out to?
Yeah, thank you very much, Diana. Working with Ministry of Health and also joint medical stores together with MSH, Management for Healthy Sciences, we've had quality control, and I think the counterfeit allegation is not true according to IRCU experience. I don't know what other stakeholders have to say, but as IRCU, there's a lot of quality control being done working with Ministry of Health. But in terms of shortage, the number of people who are getting positive is increasing, and definitely that one is putting pressure on the country. Even when we have a factory, we know we have quality chemicals as an industry. Hopefully that the government will be able to put in more resources, and we have all the people eligible to get ARVs in this country.
Well, finally, is IRCU only dealing with HIV/AIDS, or do you have any programs that you are working with in these communities?
Thank you very much. Inter-Religious Council of Uganda, apart from a comprehensive HIV/AIDS program funded by USAID, among other donors, we are implementing a gender-based violence program in Busoga region, and that one is integrated with HIV/AIDS as well. We are also implementing a very big program on peace, human rights, and good governance.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Jackie. Dear viewers, Jackie Katana by name, Gisha Program Officer at the Inter-Religious Council of Uganda in charge of HIV/AIDS and public health. Well, thank you so much, Jackie.
You're welcome.